welcome to the Dealer to Healer podcast. Today's guest I've been blessed to meet this week, so this is kind of like this mad impromptu podcast, and I'm really excited about it. Went to one of his yoga classes a few days ago, and was like, his Jiva Mukti class, and I was like, yeah, I like this guy. Had a little conversation afterwards, just about yoga, about teaching yoga, and then I said, I think you should be on my podcast, and he was like, right, okay. And I told him about my book, and then he was like, I wrote a book as well, and I was like, okay. And then he showed me the book, and I was like, it's called Butterfly Man. What the fuck? I was like, all I go on about is metamorphosis and becoming, going from the caterpillar to the butterfly. Then I meet a guy, the universe provides me with a guy who's wrote a book called The Butterfly Man. So yeah, he agreed, thankfully he agreed to do a podcast, he was up for it. And I was like, yes, this is incredible, just these things that fall into place, with the universe, with putting out good energy, and just actually talking to people, approaching them, feeling that there's some connection and there's some dialogue that needs to go on, and a lot of us are scared of that. It's like, no, go with that feeling. And then he sent me, I was like, bro, send me your stuff, send me links to what you've got going on, and then I discovered he's this superhuman endurance athlete, was a field hockey player, actor, model, is a Jiva Mukti yoga teacher. He's got 2 charities that he's involved in. I was just like, oh my god, this guy, we need 5 podcasts. We need 5 podcasts to get all this guy's information out of him. And I was just like, wow, this is such a blessing to have met you, and to have somebody who's done all this and got all this experience and this wealth of knowledge. And it's exactly what I want my listeners to hear, to discover, to learn about, and to be empowered by. Yeah, he's come over to my friend Xander's place today, and we're just filming in this big kind of living space that we've got. And yeah, I'm really, really, really pleased to have John Mclnroy, or he likes to be called Bodhi now, and I like to call him Bodacious because he's a pretty sick guy. And yeah, how are you doing, bro? How's it going?
I'm good, man. How's that intro? Did you even breathe, man?
I get nervous on my intros, and then I just go.
Oh, it's stoked to be here, man. It's the same with you. I think just our meeting was super beautiful, because in this world of Uber connection on digital platforms, we often forget to connect right in front of us, and often what is right in front of us is exactly whom and what you're supposed to connect with. And
yeah.
It's really beautiful for me, because I came from a space of wanting to connect with the whole world on social media all the time, pushing. And now there's a sense of just calmness about just knowing that the right things are going to find you anyway, and to meet you and to feel your vibe. Immediately I felt super drawn towards you, and then when you said to me, Dealer to Healer, and just your general vibe, was just everything made sense, man. So super thanks. And I mean, can you think back in your years to meeting another dude, and within a few minutes telling him about your erectile dysfunction, and then being yeah, brilliant, it's liberating for me to be able to be open, especially with another man, about something that for so long was impossible to even usher to myself, let alone be able to share it. And so yeah, thank you for this opportunity to share, to speak, and I can't wait to read your book, man.
No, and yours as well. I've been doing a bit of research, but we only met a couple of days ago. I would have loved to have got it, digested it before we got on the podcast, but we've just not had time. And I was so excited to get you on the show. But yeah, Bodhi's really kind of talking about a topic that especially in the masculine world, it's just people will not want to discuss it. Men don't want to talk about it. I even when you told me when we were stood there, I kind of heard something else. I heard something completely different, because it was, and I was with my friend, and she was she didn't hear it either. It was just because you don't hear that uttered, it doesn't register. It didn't connect, and it was just and then afterwards when I realised, it was oh my god, that's a really kind of deep, beautiful thing that you shared with us, and even though you was just telling us, and it would have been cool anyway, if it had connected properly, but yeah, it's just the fact that something else registered in my brain, and it's and for you to have wrote this book and to hopefully help a lot of other brothers who've got similar situations. But like you said, it's all about a healing of any disease.
Yeah, I mean, definitely brothers, sisters, it doesn't matter. We all want to support each other. But funnily enough, out of all the people who have connected with the book or bought the book or received the book, and certainly the people who have stepped forward to talk with me about their bodies, the stuff that they have going on, most of them have been females. And there's been some amazing, I remember in South Africa, a Xhosa man, a black South African man, real patriarch, real strong father figure, leader, householder, coming to me and asking me if we could have a chat. And it's a very public community in Cape Town, in the Xhosa community. Everyone's in the same room, everyone's sharing, everyone's open, and this guy wanted to speak to me privately, and it was amazing when he just shared, he's been struggling to get an erection. I just saw the weight just lifting off his shoulders, just being able to look at someone and say, I'm struggling a little bit, and to know that it's okay. It's like, for so long I thought that, especially the penis, it's like your identity, your force, your strength, your creation. And when it's not working in inverted commas, you think there's something wrong, but it's actually your body fully functioning, trying to reach out to you. We just have to listen. It's been beautiful, and it's led to many moments like this where we get to sort of drop into some kind of space where we can take off the mask that we carry with us. And for me, I carried like a strong mask, like I was on fire. And because I was on fire.
Was this because you were like in a kind of competitive sport kind of scenario? Like, was it kind of uber masculine, uber like, I've got to win kind of thing?
Yeah, I realized how much of my life, no matter what it was about performance. And I mean, the penis really is an amazing guide with regard to this, because an erection is all about being hard. And my focus was like that. And when you're just continually putting pressure on yourself to perform, it's intense. And I was broken, but I was addicted to the kind of the feedback that I got from the outside world. So it's almost impossible to get out of. So it's like, you've identified that this is killing you, but at the same time, the very thing that is killing you is the thing that makes you, according to the world outside you. So for so long, it felt like I was trapped in the most beautiful golden cage, that I designed, that I created. I put myself in, and I couldn't fucking get out. Like I had no idea. I felt so helpless, bro. It's like, it's super nice just to, I just feel it more at ease, bro.
Great. So for me, for my listeners, my viewers on YouTube, whatever, whatever I should say, my listeners on YouTube are just as valid as my listeners, whatever guys. Just give us like The Butterfly Man, give us like a brief synopsis of the book. Is it, go for it.
Wow, I mean, basically, for about 5 years, I was this like alpha, successful guy on the outside, sportsman. Then I got into this whole philanthropy. I felt the need to serve in South Africa. As a white male, I started to realize more and more how much privilege I just inherited. Like, almost like you just step into a suit and you get a whole lot of shit. And it's difficult to see, because it's like, well, you feel like you've kind of created it, you feel like you deserve it, you are working towards something, you're not just like, but at the same time, I started to realize more and more how much I just got shit, and
just because just for being white.
You start ahead of the queue. It's like a 100-meter race, but I start on the 20-meter line. You have to start back there, and I'm still running. I'm still working hard to get to the finish line, but I've got 20 meters ahead of you. I'm gonna win. And I really wanted to contribute in some way, and that kind of journey led me to almost push myself beyond. I just, every minute of every day, I wanted to achieve, to change, to be, to share, to open, and it was hell. It was almost like I had to hide.
So it's a total front you were putting on in a way.
Totally.
Because behind it you were struggling.
Yeah, and I never realized that each moment that my body was crying out for help, for rest, to listen, and it's like violation. And so, this went on and on and on for 5 years. I became so skillful at deceiving, and also outwardly I'm bubbly, I still energize, I still engage, I can't help it, like it's that's still part of me, but inside like there's this little boy that's just fucking crying, and it's just like.
So are you still having intimate relationships with people at this time, or you avoiding that as well?
Well, that's a whole topic for so for most of my youth, from about 18, I kind of went through puberty quite late. I remember I was playing in the England junior hockey team, and they used to call me PW, Pubeless Wonder, because all these lads had these huge hairy dicks, and I just had, like literally my dick was like the size of my baby finger. And I was like, Jesus, this is totally not cool. So I spent a lot of my like early teens hiding in the showers, trying to make excuses not to shower, blah blah blah, and then eventually, stuff started. God.
Yes.
I was delighted. I was like willing everything on, and but again, like, because I was so looking forward to having a functional sexual penis, I kind of just wanted to use it. My virginity, like it was just like this macho act of this woman wanted to have sex with me. She was a lot older than me, and I just pretended I had lots of sex before. And that was my first time. And I was gutted. I was so gutted. But it was almost like I just played this role. But before this time, I was sexually really, really active. I was kind of a good-looking dude, sporty, good at academics, intellectually. So shit just kind of just happened. And so like if you don't think about it consciously, you're just using your penis like a weapon. It's just like, and so I guess that was part of my my journey. Was like my penis had to one day just say, all right, you're gonna keep putting me in places and just stop. And I mean, I'll never forget this day. That I was kind of having a thing with a girl in Cape Town, and she went out that night, and I to one of the nightclubs I was staying in, and she woke me up at like 3 a.m, ringing the doorbell. She was looking beautiful. I was sober, had a good rest, perfect, beautiful woman standing in front of me, and we started, making out, and all of a sudden, just out of the blue, my penis just stood there, just chilled, I can't quite explain it, and I still haven't spoken to her about it. I mean, my book's come out and everything, but I haven't seen her since, and I just hope that she was super drunk and she didn't even remember that happened. But I remember thinking, I made up so many excuses. I made up so many, and it couldn't possibly have been a thing. I just ignored it. I just thought it was a once-off. Clearly there was no connection. I don't know.
But was that the first time?
That was the first time, it happened. And then, it's happened a couple more times, and then all of a sudden I realized, holy shit, when was the last time I woke up with a full-blooded erection, which used to be common. I used to be, wake up super horny, super hard, super vibrant, and then I started to think, oh my god, this is a thing, and that went on for like 5 years basically, where I realized, oh my god, and so many different things. Like one of the things, of course, you withdraw from intimacy. You withdraw from all kinds. You start taking. I to a dealer. My aunt is a doctor, and she was the first person I told about the situation because I knew she could get me Viagra. Cape Town's kind of a small town vibe, and I had a couple of public things going on, so I just couldn't get myself to go to the pharmacy and get Viagra, even though like Viagra can be used for people who just want to have sex for hours and hours and hours. So my aunt used to meet me at the garage and just slide me Viagra. So like I used to do all sorts of things to try and avoid letting people know about it, just to get the boner. It would
work. The Viagra would work.
Viagra gave it a little lift, and then I got in a relationship where I was super honest for the first time about that this has been happening. But then what happened was I would sneak Viagra in just before we were about to get intimate, and then not tell her that I was getting support with Viagra type thing. So there were so many ways to deceive. But it was amazing how I would plainly refused to even attempt to look at the source of it, like to try and get to the bottom of it. It was all about dealing with symptoms so I could keep going, I could keep pushing, I could keep being great, I could keep changing the world, so I thought. And
just Western medicine all over though, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Get rid of symptoms.
Just get rid of symptoms, symptoms. And yeah, I never knew, I mean, supposedly an intelligent dude, like a couple of degrees and this and that, fucking hell, it feels like I had no idea. It feels like I had no idea, and I was just in this hamster wheel, this trap, and I couldn't get out, no matter how bad I was feeling inside. I just had this ability to keep pushing, keep going, keep showing, until eventually, I was, the thing that kind of changed it all was I ended up moving to a beautiful community, which it's called Lange, it's just outside Cape Town. And it was the oldest, what's called a township in South Africa, which is an area which was allocated as living space for black people during apartheid, when the laws were governed, the oppressive laws of South Africa. And obviously since the democratic elections and Mandela and that whole story, we've got open, free, fair elections. But the legacy of apartheid still lingers, because geographically you can't just change things like overnight.
Can't just mix everyone in politics.
Yeah.
Like, you're just all swapping houses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and I used to play hockey and cricket for Lange, which was an amazing. I was so fortunate to meet some incredible sportsmen from Lange, and then I got involved in the Lange Cricket Club through Tommy Tolikile, the one day I was in Lange and I was starting to spend more and more, and had started an educational trust that started to work in Lange, that started to support what was happening in Lange and support Lange people standing on their own 2 feet, because like I saw more resilience and hope and ingenuity in Lange than I've ever witnessed in my whole life put together. When you have to deal with living with not much, you have to rise, it's unbelievable. And yet so much of my life was about the white person explaining to the black person how he or she should live, whereas I felt it should be the other way around. The amount of pure determination just to exist was just mind-blowing. And anyway, I'd never thought it was possible to live in Lange. And the one day Lungile says to me, you're always here, you're coaching at this, but you go in and out. And I was trying to learn Klasse, which, if you don't.
So is the click, is that the...
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because at first I thought, you've done a click and I'll have to edit that out. And then you did it again, I was like, oh no. And then
it's a
I listened to Trevor Noah, he does the click.
Oh yeah,
for the...
I mean, Trevor Noah will do it a lot better than me. His mother is Klasse speaking.
Yeah.
So Trevor Noah is amazing. What a beautiful story.
Amazing.
I mean,
the way he breaks things down is just, in his comedy as well, it's just so I'm like, that's all my friends, English people, about Brexit. I'm like, just watch Trevor Noah. He'll tell you what it's all about.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically, because as a white, there's no white South Africans in London, and I just thought it was just one of those things. It's just not possible in your life to live there. And Lungila's like, why didn't you come stay here? And I was like, Jesus, I never thought about that. Yeah, and I ended up moving in with Tommy's mom, Lungila's aunt, Ntutu Tolekile, and oh my God, a Klasse mother is like a powerhouse. I mean, like Trevor Noah's mom, just a strong woman who takes no shit, and just abundant love but protection. And she's like, so I moved in with her, and it was, we could talk about that experience on its own, as a white South African living in Lange. The first reaction of most people is like, will you be safe? Are you kidding me?
White people?
Any people, but generally white people. And most of the people that would say, is it safe, have never been to Lange, have never actually experienced it. But still, you can understand where it comes from. And it was funny because I probably felt more safe and more protected in Lange. And I remember, I'll never forget the day I came home to Tutu's house, to Mama and Tutu's house, and my car was gone, and she's like, Sipo, my other name in Lange is Sipo. Sipo, EP Moto, where's your car? Dude, where's my car? And I said to Mama, I sold it. And she's like, what, you you sold your car. Like in London, like a car is like the step towards freedom, towards independence, towards, and like it's almost like I was just reversing this process. But what changed was the moment I stepped out of the car, I started to use my bike and I started to walk. Changed everything. And because aesthetically I was so much lighter than everybody else, I had like angels in every street corner, like just looking out for me, taking care of me. So when people ask me, did you feel safe? Like 99.9% of the time I felt like protected. I felt like, wow, like people have got my back. People look at you because you're walking on the streets, you get public transport. You actually have an experience that you can't believe. I mean, the house that I went from had like big tall security fences and alarms and security services that patrol. You pay a monthly amount. Right. Suddenly I go to Lange and the house, the gate is broken, the front door, we've lost the key. And I'm going like, what the fuck? Like, and people think it was like the kids just walk in and out of the house, and your kid is my kid. Everyone spoke to each other. Everyone interacted. You looked after people. It blew my mind. I mean, one of the most magical things happened. I started to become friendly with Sini Temba, this young kid who lived like one road down from me, and he used to play cricket and hockey. I was a hockey player, and to see hockey played in the streets, mind-blowing. I mean, Lange Hockey Club is an amazing story. But basically, I used to play cricket, hockey, whatever it was, with Sini Temba and his mates. And every Friday at the hockey club, we would host like a run around Lange. And it became quite famous because a lot of people from outside of Lange now started to come to Lange to run and see the vibrancy of it. And Sini Temba probably lived like 2 kilometers from the hockey club. So like 2 kilometers is not really a big deal to you or I, but like when you're a 10-year-old kid and you're on foot, 2 kilometers is still 2 kilometers. So it wasn't that easy for him to get to after school, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the one day Sini Temba gets to the hockey club on a Friday evening, and I wasn't there. And he goes straight up to Lungile. Lungile is like Olympic hockey player, super prominent figure in the community. And he's like immediately up to Lungile, is like, Upi Sipo, where's Sipo? So Lungile is like, Ngubani Sipo. And then Ngubani is, who's Sipo? And like everyone in Lange knows everyone, let alone in the hockey club. It's like, so then this kid's like, Sipo, you play hockey with him. Sipo, he rides around Lange on a bicycle and you play hockey with him. And Lungile is like, Sipo, hockey, bicycle, what are you talking about, kid? And this kid's getting so animated, and then suddenly the kid shouts, Sipo, he's my best friend. And Lungile is like, what are you talking about? And some seconds later, I arrive on my bicycle, and Sini Temba shouts to Lungile, Jongo wena, Sipo. And then he shouts, I told you he rides a bicycle. And I'm arriving on my bicycle. And not once this kid says, Sipo, the white guy. He just sees his friend, the guy who rides the bike, the guy who plays hockey. And in that moment, I realized like that is how we grow. That's how we are born. We are born just seeing a human, a living being, another shape, another form, someone else, and suddenly a whole lot of things get filtered into your perception. And it was just the most amazing moment to feel like just a human being, not a white body, a male body. It was just a beautiful, amazing moment. So back to the story. Basically, it was a breach of security that ended up being my savior in a way, the thing that changed everything. Because even still in Lange, I was hiding my penis was still just not working, and it hadn't worked for 5 years. I almost gave up. I basically for whatever reason, it was the night of my 34th birthday, 15th of July 2016. So and I went to bed super late because I was the next day. Mum Tutu arranged a whole lot of people to come around, dance, celebrate the Lange way. Amazing. Yeah. I was so freaking tired, pushing emails out, trying to keep pushing, and I fell asleep. And I didn't know whether I'd been sleeping for a long time, if it was morning. Mum Tutu used to wake me up in the mornings because she was a teacher, and we shared half a cupboard, so she would just come into my room. and I could just feel her energy, her vibe. It was just so cool to share, and amazing. And anyway, that particular night, I could feel a different energy in the room, and I wasn't sure if I was dreaming. I wasn't sure if it was time to wake up in the morning. But then I had the sense that there was someone in my room, and I kind of just completely froze. I just froze and just hoped that when I opened my eyes, the light would be, the sun would be up and everything would be okay. And it kind of got more and more intense, and eventually, when someone can feel that someone is awake, this person, it was like a big sound. And anyway, I then finally wake up and sort of have the courage to stand up. The lights are still completely off. My room is pretty small, and I kind of stagger out of the room. Still haven't turned the lights on. I'm kind of all over the place. Yeah. I walk down to the end of the corridor. Nothing's really happening. I walk back, and then I'm thinking, maybe I'm just, imagining something. And I go to turn the light on, and I turn the light on, and I just see all my power cables in the middle of the room, and my laptop, my cell phone, my everything had gone. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, someone was in this room. Yeah. It was really happening. And basically from that moment, I let go of trying to pretend and trying to keep communicating with the world that I was strong, that I was capable. I needed to stop. And that was the moment that my whole life changed after that, completely.
So in today's world, where that is the worst thing that can happen to a human, who's cell phone is their arm, as important as their arm, that was your kind of biggest blessing in a way.
Completely. That person who, I have a good idea, we have a good idea who it was, and that person is like an angel. Didn't do me any harm. He came in and took the things that were almost tying me to the life that I had. Took them away and said fly, and I haven't replaced my laptop since. I got my cell phone was insured, but nothing else was insured because I'd moved to Langa. When I emailed the insurance company,
not going to insure
which was another moment of fucking hell, as a white skinned guy living in a nice white area. Oh yeah, you can have insurance. The moment you move to another area, say no, you can't have insurance anymore. So there were so many moments like that where I witnessed how it must be a little snippet of how it must be like to have the black skin in South Africa still, and we underestimate it. I'm smiling now. It was traumatic. There was someone inside my room, but all in all, it was the greatest gift that I ever had, and in the end, I actually wrote the book on my cell phone. I didn't have a laptop, and words were just coming out of me, and I just non-stop 15 days. I wrote 80,000 words in 15 days without barely any sleep. It was just
wow, it just had to come out.
It just had to come out.
Yeah, that's what I was like when I was writing. At some stage, it was just I just got to get this done. I couldn't stop. It was you read people telling you work 25 minutes. Have 5 off, I was just boom, 7 hours straight, boom, writing.
Totally.
Just in this zone of then you pull yourself out eventually, where have I been? Where have I actually been? But it's amazing to see that was that was kind of the catalyst for you writing that book. And was that the catalyst for you to kind of change your approach to figuring this penis problem out?
Yeah, it kind of. Yes, in short. Yeah. In short, that was me giving up. That was me letting go of pretending. And the moment you let go of something, your hands become open. And suddenly my hands were open to receive. And from that moment on, it's almost like I received exactly what I needed to in those moments. And I just trusted. I knew how hopeless I felt and how dark a space I was, and yet pretending to shine so bright. It was too much. My body was finished. It's like not taking consent. It's like overriding your body's wishes all the time, every day. And that was the start of a healing journey. And it's taken so many twists and turns, and I'm still on the journey.
Amazing. Because it's kind of in my book, it's that moment when I reach rock bottom and I fully surrender and I go, okay, yeah, this is, I'm, you know, I need help now. Like, I need to sort this out. But I had to get to that point, otherwise, that point was, I was either going to kill myself or I was going to sort it out. And then I was like, okay, well, I can still kill myself, but should I try and sort it out first? I'll try and sort it out, and then if it doesn't go sort it out, I'll kill myself. It's fine. But I needed that moment of rock bottom, of like, it can't get any worse than this. So then I can kind of hopefully, well, now I know you can, they're the biggest growth points, because you've got so many places to go, so many avenues, and it's about then, when in that moment of surrender, just looking for the people that can help you, the places that you need to go next, you know, what the universe is telling you to go, or guiding you, like where your angels are guiding you to go towards.
It's almost like, I don't know if it felt like this for you, that I hadn't lived my own life. Not for 1 second. It's almost like I had just lived the life according to the role that I had to play or had been given, or I don't even know where it came from. It's like, it felt like the beginning again.
Yeah.
Like to start again and to fill your life with stuff that feels good.
That resonates with you, feels good for you.
It just feels good, yeah. And you start to realize how much we have been steered by the past, by our families, by society. Social media is an amazing example. Like we're the data, and we're not the customer. The customer is paying money for us to be guided every single day. And suddenly, when you step away, you get to rebuild. You get to look at things with a whole new light and start to discover like what it is you really want. Like what is it that you want to do? What do you want to do today? Like fuck, I don't think I ever did anything I wanted to do. I just did what I thought I had to do. You know. So it was the start of I mean, at the time I was finished. I couldn't even, I barely could lift my face, get out of bed. But
beautiful, them spots are beautiful, man. People tell me that shit, I'm like, yeah, you're gonna got lots of growing to do from this point, because you got like when you just kind of going through life and you're just kind of meandering through, and you're not feeling great and you're not feeling too sad, but you're not too like. Sometimes you just need to dive into the pits of despair, because that's where your growth comes from. So I'm just like always dead happy when someone gets there in like a sadistic, not in a sadistic way, but it's just like it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And it's like death in the West. We have this misconception about, your mum's like, don't talk about death, don't talk about this. It's like it's a beautiful moment in life. It's like the one moment that's kind of is guaranteed, and we don't want to talk about it. It's kind of hidden, and the same thing is with despair and with people suffering or with diseases. It's kind of like we just want to dumb it down a little bit, and actually hitting them points is like yes, because there's so much beauty to to heal yourself, to understand it yourself, to not hand over your power to the doctors, to Western medicine, to whatever. It's like look inside yourself to find the healing, to find the answers, because you're fucking living inside it. You should know more than anyone else, really, shouldn't you? If you're connected to your whole energy, your system, and everything. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. But what I wanted to, before we talk about how you started healing and where you've got to where you are now, I just want to know your backstory, because what was your success in? How did it all come about? You were acting, you were playing sport, you were doing these endurance things. Can you just kind of elaborate on what your life was like to get to kind of get to that moment, how you were being super successful?
Yeah, I mean,
pick yourself up a bit or whatever. I
played a lot of cricket and hockey as a schoolboy. Did super well in those two sports, and a bit of running also on the side. I was super fast and fit, and just. But hockey became my number one kind of path, and I played for England junior. I was born in South Africa in 1982, and then when I was
Same.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure that out before. When you
Oh, really?
When you said you were 34 in 2006.
Yeah.
Maybe we're the same age.
Yeah, cool. What month?
February.
Alright, you're older than me, you see.
Oh, not yet.
Oh, yeah. And then when I was 4, I moved to the UK with my parents. They moved me. I was 4 years old. And then 12 years later, when I was 16, I moved back to South Africa on my own. Basically, South Africa was a big part of me. Every year we'd go there as a family. And then my dad gave me the chance to go to boarding school in Cape Town, and I just dived in. It was fucking crazy. And yeah, within a few years, I made my debut for the South African hockey team. And probably gave my hockey career a good crack for about 4 years. Ended up traveling to France, and traveled a lot with the South African team all over the world. It was a really fun time. And then I ended up getting a job in an Irish property development company, which then invited me to go to Dublin. The boss was the president of one of the top hockey clubs in Ireland, so he kind of just got me to come play hockey basically. So I moved to Ireland, and yeah, probably the biggest swing at that point was I was in the corporate world, and I was like, there's something not right here. And I was kind of really blessed that I arrived at the back end of when everyone was making shit tons of money in Ireland. I missed that show. And I look back realizing that if you make a lot of money in the corporate world, it becomes very difficult to get out. And sometimes it's a blessing when you do get a no. But yeah, it wasn't resonating. It didn't feel good. But at the same time, I didn't have a clue how I was going to live my life. And basically, a really good friend of mine was living with me in Dublin, and he met this girl from the Bahamas. They ended up falling in love. At the end of the year, they moved back to South Africa. So we were having farewell drinks, and we said to each other, we'd love to have something that no matter where in the world we are, we could remember each other. And what could that be? And he then shared a story about a war veteran who used to come to his old school Remembrance Day services. And this old geezer would walk to the front of the chapel wearing red socks, put a wreath of flowers down, and I'd be like, why is this fellow wearing red socks? What's the crack? And basically it came back that this guy, his name is Sidney Feinson, a South African Jewish soldier. And in 1942 he was captured in the Battle of Tobruk and taken to an Italian prisoner of war camp in Ferrara, just outside Milan, I think. And him and 2 friends said to each other when they were at this prisoner of war camp, they said to each other, if anyone makes it back alive, that they'll wear red socks to always remember each other and always be together. So I was like, fuck, that's such a beautiful story. And for whatever reason, then me and Simo, we said to each other, we're going to wear red socks and we're going to wear them on Friday. And the reason I'm telling you that is that basically more and more people then started wearing red socks on a Friday. Everyone in my office, and it just started to grow. It was like this gesture of passion, of I want to live my life. I want to live my life with passion, with love, with something to live for, with enthusiasm, with togetherness.
And this was in the corporate world as well.
So this started in the corporate world, but then in the end, it was about a year later. It was around the time of Barack Obama becoming president of America. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I had this flippant dream of Barack Obama at the Washington DC area with all those people, all the microphones close to his mouth, and he pulls up his trouser leg and he says, "Shoops!" And basically he has a pair of red socks on. And "shoops" is a word that we used to say a lot at school, and it then became a word that meant nothing, but we used to say it all the time, and it was just like a universal language. And I always sort of felt there was something unifying about it. And then anyway, I realized that Shoops and the red socks, and I saw a world map just full of red socks. So basically, after this dream, I woke up the next day, went to work, and I quit. And I said, I'm gonna I don't know, sell red socks. I don't know. And I remember my boss, he's a beautiful guy, he's still in my life now, super supportive. He was at the book launch actually.
Awesome.
He said to me, Johnny, don't be a fucking moron. You know, because it was like the recession, he was keeping me in the job, he was super kind to me, and I just had this calling. And basically for the next like however many years, it's still going now, it's a movement that people wear red socks all over the world. We sold well over 50,000 pairs of red socks, but I was morning, noon and night. I ended up getting a scholarship to do my MBA in Dublin. They have an entrepreneurial scholarship. I just wrote one page about me sharing this idea to unify people through red socks. They gave me like a €15,000 freaking grant, and stuff just flowed. And that led to the creation of the Unogwaja. So this is another unbelievable story. In South Africa, there's an organization that I founded called the Unogwaja Charitable Trust. But how it began was I had started, promoting, sharing the Red Sox, and it became like a big running community. I don't even know how it even happened, and how did I even start getting into running? Oh yeah, I know, I got into running. And basically this guy had heard about the Red Sox story and wanted to meet me, and he comes to see me, and he's got all these like history books, like big hardcover books, and it's all about the Comrades Marathon. I'm like, why does this guy want to tell me about the Comrades Marathon? The Comrades Marathon is like an 89-kilometer ultra marathon that started in South Africa between Durban and Pietermaritzburg, and it's like a world-renowned ultra marathon. It started in memory of people who died in the war. And it's been a big unifier in South Africa in terms of race, in terms of just humanity coming together to suffer, to connect. And he started telling me about this guy who in 1931 was 19 years old and won the Comrades Marathon. I was like, wow, and you have to be 20 now to run the Comrades, so he will always be the youngest runner, and his nickname is Unogwaja, which is a Zulu word for rabbit, like a hare.
Okay.
But in 1933, this guy, Phil Masterton Smith Unogwaja, lived in Cape Town. And he couldn't afford the train fare from Cape Town to Pietermaritzburg to take part in this race. So instead of just giving up, this fella got on a bicycle and cycled like 1,700 kilometers to get to the start of the race, and then ran the race. He came 10th. And I was just like, what? And then this guy was like, well, just hang on a sec. On the 5th of June, 1942, Phil Masterton Smith lost his life in the Battle of Tobruk, the same battle that the Red Sox dude was captured in. And basically, for whatever reason, I was just like, this has to be done. And that moment that I made up my mind, it's kind of like writing the book. I'll tell you the story later of I just wrote it. But that was the start of Unogwaja Challenge, and like 5 months later we didn't have bikes at the time, didn't have a freaking any idea, hadn't run a marathon. 5 months later we cycled, 4 of us, from Cape Town to Pietermaritzburg in 10 days, and then ran the Comrades, and it was the start. We just we ended up raising a lot of money for various charities to do with the Comrades Marathon, and more importantly, we just raised togetherness. People were like, how can we help? How can we be part of it? How can we support? It just was a movement of epic proportions, and I invested 7 years of my life after that to Unogwaja, like running, riding. I even did the journey on foot from Cape Town to Pietermaritzburg on foot, because I realized how much of a separator the bike was. You know, you're cycling through these incredible towns, but all the kids are on foot. And then the moment we were on foot, it was mind blowing. But I took the journey on foot with a soft penis, with total freaking burnout. I was broken, but I kept pushing. I couldn't stop. I was addicted to it. And it was part of my this trap, because I felt I had responsibility. I felt I had to keep going, even though I was just doing harm. I was making a wheel spin. But I honestly, I had no answers. I felt like this was the only option I could do. Suck it up and move on. Keep going. And I literally did. I ran, I cycled, I ran, I spoke at events, I did TED Talks. The acting and stuff was very much TV commercials are a big industry in Cape Town. So it became a cool, natural way for me to earn money on the side. I did 1 or 2 shitty roles in series, but I never really applied myself as an actor. But it was a really fun industry to be in. And I'm actually in Barcelona today. I still use it, and it helps me to supplement my yoga career, which is another. It's a tough yoga in Barcelona. It's not easy to make ends meet, but that's
everywhere.
Yeah.
We need a union.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So I think that gives a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
So get distracted.
No. That's beautiful. Just kind of like getting into that. Being in competitive sport and that kind of lifestyle and commitment to being an elite athlete kind of just carried on and actually wore you out. I think there's probably a lot of athletes that just kind of scared to, because your career in a lot of those sports is so limited time-wise. It's not a long career in a lot of those sports that people are like, well, I can't take a break from it. What Premier League footballer or anything? Do you know what? I need 6 months off.
You go Bali.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't exist, does it? Like, but why not? Why can't they just go? Do you know what? Like, especially because you've got enough money for the rest of their lives. Like, why can't you just take 6 months off? Like, the thing with the mental health in soccer, football, it's still kind of frowned upon a little bit by the older community. At least now the younger people are more aware of that. But yeah, it's kind of like, why, if a footballer needs to take a break, then why can't they? Or any elite athlete, But yeah, I think just talking about that, keeping going with that same energy and that same commitment, and actually not being able to step back and go, well, is this serving me? I'm happy, and like you said, you were burning out. So from that point, you've then gone and lived in one of the townships. You've had your laptop, your phone stolen. You've had this moment of clarity, of kind of like rock bottom. What's happened then?
Wow, I mean, I don't know how the hell I made it to Barcelona, but I think it's been basically almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
And I was super lucky to be able to get on a plane. I just got on a plane. I think I Googled the whole world.
Yeah.
I was like just looking for anything, and in the end, I found this like vegan meditation yoga retreat in Thailand, super low key, living in tents by the beach. And I like Canvas emailed heaps of people. I mean, actually, one of the things I was almost close to doing was I was going to Kenya. There's a village, I can't remember what it's called, where all the Olympic athletes go, and you just run and you eat veggies. And I was like, fuck it. But I was like, geez, thank God that didn't happen. Like, just to keep running, keep punishing my body. And out of all the people that I emailed, I got this email back, like not an automated info email. It was like, hey, John. That was John.
Yeah.
John feels so different. Like, I sometimes, if someone shouts John, I won't even. I'm not even present with it. Anyway, so
is that part of the shift about
there was
letting go of that old self?
Yeah, it was really helpful. We're about to get to that, and it was total luck.
Yeah.
But basically, this lady from this Thai called the Olive Retreat in Thailand. I don't know how the hell I found it, but it said vegan meditation, yoga, beach, tents. I was like, okay, in nature, sweet. I'll have a bit of that. Anything, and I kind of just wanted someone to reach out to me. I just wanted someone to take me in. I didn't care. And also, like, being around my dad has been amazing, and there's a lot to talk about my relationship with him, but he's very much solution based. Like we need to do this, we need to take this, and that's not what I needed. I needed just to be okay, just to be at ease with how I was right now, and just relax, just let go, relax. There was actually no solution to be had. And then this lady called Christina emails me back and said, may I Skype with you? And I was like, yeah, I mean, fuck, I don't know, sure. And next moment, I'm on Skype with this lady in Thailand. She's like a Swedish, Spanish woman. And she said, I've been talking with my partner, Ray, and we both think you should come to us. And I was like, okay. Like, what else? I mean, and it was super affordable. They were super kind, and I was like, yeah, well, why not? So I flew to Bangkok. It was like a 2-hour bus trip to this little part of the world that they call home, and I ended up being the only guest for a week, and we just cooked food together, talked. I slept and I slept and I slept. They just let me sleep. There was a whole program. They just let me do what I needed to do. I felt at ease. I didn't have to perform. It was the start of me just being a human again. And what ended up happening was, we became friends. Me, Christina, Ray. Ray is this crazy genius, beautiful human. He's had an amazingly crazy life, and he also published a book recently. Or before, he had just published a book called Hippiepreneur. It's so wild, like conspiracy theorist / insight into the capitalist world. It's amazing, total genius. And he worked with one of the most wealthy men in the world from Saudi Arabia as like his communication specialist, and let's say he's seen some stuff that he can't unsee, and it's had a big impact on him and his journey. But anyway, Christina's visa was running out for Thailand, and she had 2 options. She either had to go to Bangkok and sit in queues and extend, or she had to leave the country and come back, you know, the visa run. And she then just, mentions, I've always wanted to go to India, and I've always wanted to visit the Osho Center in India. And I was like, what, the Osho Center? And this name had just been coming up a lot.
Is that in Pune?
In Pune, yeah. So I'm like, Osho Center, like I've had lots of people saying, you should go to the Osho Center. And I just hadn't, like something doesn't stick at the right moment, And then as soon as she said Osho Center, India, I was like, I'll go with you. And she was like, really? Awesome. Because she didn't want to go on her own. Basically, Ray then found us a expedited visa online. I think for 30 days you can get into India anyway. And he had a friend who was an Ayurvedic doctor in Pune. And next minute, me and Christina had just met her on a plane to India. And that's when I arrived at the Osho Center. So many things to tell you about the Osho Center, but the biggest thing for sure was on the first day. It was a Friday, and they have it's called a sannyasin ceremony, but whatever, it's basically a renaming ceremony, where you as an adult get to choose your own name, as a conscious adult get to, and I had massive resistance to this. I was like, that's weird, you can't choose your own name, only weird people do that. And I just sat and watched, and people were gathered around. It was like a big event, and someone writes their own name down, hands it into the person doing the ceremony, then she or he gets called out, so his or her new name. They walk to the center of the room. There's a whole lot of people there. There's some inspiring quotes about expressing who you truly are, like not who the society tells you, not this like. And it was just wonderful. I was just like, wow, this is really cool. And then all of a sudden, she like has a blessing or whatever, and then suddenly the music, the band starts to play, and it was like Love is the Fire or So Much Magnificence or some beautiful cheesy love vibe like that. And then all of a sudden everyone who's outside of the area starts to run in and starts dancing and hugging her as if it was like her wedding day or just congratulating her. And I just saw like pure like joy in this human's face, in her eyes. And my body couldn't help but feel so excited about it. I was like, this is so beautiful. And I just hugging her, even though my head was like, what the fuck are you doing? And of course, it brought up a lot for me. I was like, that was great, but I'm not doing it. I'm John Mclnroy, this name, I spent my whole time, my personal website.
Motherfucking John Mclnroy.
I'm John Mclnroy. You build yourself up. It's like, it becomes who you are. And I never realized how much this name carried, like how much I inherited, how many things that I carried with me that I actually didn't really look into what they were. I just kind of took them on, as if they were mine, as if I consciously chose them. And so like that week I was super like, it was like this head and heart battle. Like part of me was like, next Friday I'm here and I want to do it. But what could my name be? My head was like, but no, don't be stupid. That's ridiculous.
Stephen.
Like, yeah.
Imagine you change your name to Stephen.
Yeah, no.
John, Stephen. What do you want to be called? Stephen.
But there was this dude called Raj,
Yeah.
and he's like 50 odd years old. He changed his name like 30 years before, and Rajan means king in Sanskrit.
Yeah.
So I was like, Raj, bro, like, you know,
Strong name.
strong name, bro. You know, so
Spartacus.
yeah, but like, I kind of was like, you know, how can you call yourself king? Like, who the fuck do you think you are calling yourself king? So it just brought up a lot. So I was just like, and I was looking at names, nothing really. It was like in sports team, Macca's, Mackie, Sipo. Like, I had a long list of names, but it's like someone gave that to me. It felt like less conceited or less righteous in some way. And then the Friday morning, it was Friday morning, and I knew that the ceremony was that evening.
Yeah.
And I was having breakfast with this old dude, Krishna Prem, who again had been part of this community for a while, really flippin' spirited dude, lots of experience in life. And we were just sitting, shooting the breeze, having brekkie, and I was telling him a bit about this kind of inner turmoil, but also excitement, like I want to get this name. And then he looks at me and he's like, "You're Bodhi." And I was like, literally, like, my body just, oh my God, it was just like, it just smiled. Like I didn't even know what it meant. It just sounded beautiful. And I looked it up and it meant what he told me. He said, it means like, I mean, there's many different actual translations, but it means like awareness. It means like awakening. And I was like, oh my fuck. And
Is that what Bodhisattva is?
Yeah,
Bodhi, the awakened being.
Yeah, something like that. Sattva is like truth, but yeah.
Beautiful.
And I loved his name Prem. So Prem means love, and it's also a male and female associated name. And this was just the start of me recognizing, wow, there's some kind of femininity in me. Like, it's totally at home. I love it. But so Prem was like a celebration and a kind of realization that I'm not just a bloke in this bloke's skin. Like, there's so much more. I've got to listen. So I like the name Bodhi first, but Bodhi Prem just didn't sound as beautiful as Prem Bodhi. I just liked it. So I wrote down my name, went to the ceremony, and I still had no idea quite what I was doing. As in, I couldn't have possibly realized how much of grace I was being given by changing my name. It was kind of like a fun thing. It felt good. I was doing things that felt good, but I had no idea quite how profound it could have been. And it was, because it all happened. It was beautiful. I was dancing. I had tears in my eyes. I had people hugging me. I had no idea who these humans are, but I was like, this is so much fun. I consciously just chose, like 30 odd years ago, when my parents gave me my name, they gave me with love, and I love, my name is wonderful. But so much has happened since then. And we can either choose to unconsciously keep living, or we can consciously choose to do things. And choosing your name, I realized how much weight and how much history we carry within our name. And the next morning, I mean, I couldn't wait to go to bed because I wanted to wake up. I wanted to, like, and I still was in a darkish space. I was still coming out of huge darkness. And I remember like just flying out of bed because I was like, I want to feel
on Friday,
after the next morning, the Saturday morning, after being Bodhi. So Friday night was, and I just flew out of bed and I wanted to look in the mirror and clean my teeth, and I wanted to, everything as Bodhi just felt different. It was the first time, and then I'll never forget this. It was just happened exactly how it was meant to. The dynamic meditation in Osho is amazing. I really recommend it for really, literally shaking you alive, like getting rid of all of the stuff that we carry with us and letting it go. It's really a physical practice. And anyway, I'd finished the morning meditation and I'm covered in sweat in my like pink, in my maroon robe, you know, and I mean, so many things.
Vinyasa robe.
Yeah, great. And I'm walking to the canteen, full of life, dripping with sweat, just alive with hope. Nothing had changed, but everything had changed. And then I look, Raj is walking towards me, and I was like, oh my fuck. What? Like, what's he gonna call me? This is insane. So I was like, just stay cool. And I walked past, as always, and said, morning, Raj. And then he goes, morning, Bodhi. And I was like, I was it was amazing. It was just pure amazing. And then as he just carried on walking as if we'd been doing this our whole life, Bodhi felt like it was been my name my whole life.
Yeah.
I turn around and I just see this tall, elegant, regal, long-strided man walking away from me. And I was like, he really is a king.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful name for him. And he chose it for himself. Yes, choose your life.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that moment of that happening, everything changed, and suddenly I had an empty canvas that I could choose what to put in it. And suddenly, if meeting you in Thailand or in India where I was at the time, it's like, hey Liam, hey Bodhi. There was nothing else, and then because I hadn't decided to get rid of social media, up until then I would have shared my John Mclnroy Facebook page with you. You know, it's easy to keep in touch, blah blah, all the story. But now suddenly as Bodhi, I was like, well, Bodhi doesn't have any social media, and this is where it's telling me to go. And suddenly it was like, yeah, I'm Bodhi, that's it. That's all I have, bro.
Clean slate.
That's all I have. And then I realized how I also wasn't present in myself, but I wasn't present in the humans that I met. I would be like looking at I'd want to get your Facebook so I could get a take on you. I'd be getting to know the image of you rather than actually getting to know like how it feels to be with you, looking, feeling. And it was amazing. Like I realized the depths of the relationships that I had after that were just mind blowing. And
that's a beautiful thing when you're traveling or when you're in a space where people are more, you know, like obviously I'm not living here day to day, so it's not like I'm working and, you know, with my family. It's not. I'm open, and when you're traveling, most people that you're meeting are also open, so you make these epic connections. And like I was discussing it the other day, when I'm in Manchester, I don't make these epic connections like I do when I'm in other cities. But then the one day that I went to Manchester with my book actually, and I was like, I'm just gonna. It was free for one more day on Kindle. I was like, I'm just gonna approach people in the street and talk to them about my book and say, you know, if you want to get it free on your phone, just tap on Amazon now and just have these chats. Obviously, loads of people thought I was a freak. Loads of people thought I was like one of the charity workers, you know, just Bob hassling people. But then I made myself vulnerable, and through that vulnerability, I made some wicked connections during the day. You know, where people wanted to know about my book, and then I met a couple of girls who were into marketing, who were thinking about doing ayahuasca themselves, and I was just like, Jesus, man, like, this is available to me in my own city. I just have to open up to it. And yeah, when you're traveling, just to make them connections, it's just stunning, isn't it?
Totally. And I think I also realized how the city or the town that you grew up in, it's very difficult for the caterpillar to change, because just the weight of the flow around you, and the moment that you step away from that, you have space just to do as you wish, and the people that are with you are just supporting that, whatever it is. They give you the space because there's no reference, there's no context.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it was huge. If I was in Cape Town, there's no ways Bodhi would have flown.
Yeah.
But suddenly that was all I was, and all it was grace. It was total flipping grace. So yeah.
It's really good to hear that story, because I've got a few friends who've gone to India, changed the name, and I don't get that story. I've never felt what you've just told me, like the experience of the changing of the name. I've just always gone to India, some guru's give him a new name, and I've never felt anybody tell me the story with that much energy, and that how it's a beautiful cleanse, and it's changing, and it's a clean canvas. So that's enlightening and educational for me to get that perspective of it, because and most people, I've gone to India, he's changed his bloody name. No, bloody idiot. All these idiots going to India and changing their names. You know, so that's the gag reflex reaction to that, to people doing that. So how's being Bodhi in Cape Town?
It's like a collision course, man.
Yeah.
Total shit show. Total fucking shit show, man. Because it's just like.
But you own it.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I'm also super peaceful with John.
Yeah.
Because I haven't formally changed my name like on documents. I've got British South African passport now. Got all my documents in Spain.
Yeah.
Just like that was my bookmark. That was my birth name. That was the name that my family, my parents gave me with love.
Yeah.
But me choosing to consciously change my name now, it's like I can't. If I was a parent, I can't think of anything more beautiful than to see my son or my daughter consciously choosing their life and choosing to live in a way that they want to live. And like the gag reflex, as you say. My name's I'm like this privileged white guy called Prem Bodhi. You know, it's fucking total piss take, but I don't give a fuck. You know, it's it still makes me smile. Like it really, I feel so at home in the name. Like I often just go by Bodhi. Like generally in yoga circles, it's just Bodhi. Like I'm going to Luxembourg at the end of January, and they just love calling me Prem Bodhi. And there's this one student in Luxembourg who calls me Prem, and it's just like it's beautiful. it's like I really like being called Prem as well, to be honest. So it made me smile. Like, you know, it's and who knows, maybe it'll change again. I don't know. Like it's space. It changed everything. It's something that one day before was not movable. That I had carried my name for my whole life, and I never thought I could be anything else. And I never, the next morning, I'm experiencing something completely different. You start to look at everything in your life and realize that none of the limitations that you put in place are actually there.
So what I'm really interested in, because I'm like kind of a little bit in love with the Jivamukti style of yoga, in love with the founders and stuff. It's always been something that's really resonated with me in terms of their activism, in terms of the veganism, in terms of the practice and the art and the creativity that is involved in it. Just how did you come to a space where, I guess it's going to be a couple of questions in this question, where did you kind of decide to become a Jivamukti teacher? And also, I think this is more the question that I want to ask first. Where did going to Thailand to do that, going to a vegan retreat, going and doing yoga, the spiritual element of that, was that in your life before this kind of moment of losing all your possessions and going, I need to find who I am?
So, veganism had come into my life literally a couple of years before. Through an ex-partner, beautiful human that I met on the plane, and beautiful story. But it was really difficult. I almost felt like it was just another something that I was doing that was it was hard work, and to as a South African sportsman, macho male dude, like eating meat was just part of every single occasion almost. It was like part of our identity. And Ariella had introduced veganism to me in a really soft, beautiful way. I mean, my sister was vegetarian since I was 13, but she was so quiet and chilled, and I just thought she was such a freak. Like, what is wrong with her? Why does she not want to eat meat? I was obsessed with meat. And one of the first, other than my aunt, I went to see my family doctor, and I started to, share with professionals and seek some help. And because I'd started veganism, it wasn't like a linear road, but I had a few kind of. It's almost like a drug dealer giving up drugs. I mean, a drug addict giving up drugs. It's really difficult just to get off it. So for me, it was a bit like that with the meat. But I had started living quite a strong vegan life, off and on. And the first doctor that I met, he was convinced that the veganism was what made my penis flat. And I mean, I can't. That just says so much, because there are many parts to this recovery, to this healing. But if I had to say if I had to choose one practice that is going to lead to the most change in your body, your life, it's the choice of what you eat. And
it's what it's your fuel, isn't it?
it's just it's mind blowing, and literally how meat was just causing so much heaviness in my life, and the weight of eating meat, of taking that violence into your body, it was too much.
Yeah, it's on an energetic level.
Totally, just on an energetic level.
Yeah.
But my grandmother was also a yoga teacher, so I kind of was exposed to yoga, but I thought it was a bit of a joke. She was amazing actually, and she used to teach a lot of other grannies. So like in the 90s, it was kind of like grannies for grannies, and it wasn't as cool as it was now. I think John Mclnroy actually was one of the pioneers of Western yoga, especially in the States. It made it cool. It brought it to the youth. It brought it to it was in vogue, and which is amazing. I didn't even know about it until recently. And so there was some kind of awareness, but effectively I was operating in my world, and I was, didn't have time for any of that really. And then in the space I was back in Cape Town as Bodhi / John / whoever I was, and acro yoga was the first yoga practice that I fell in love with, that had so many hidden gems, so much medicine, like around sexuality, around intimacy, around touch, around consent, around communication. Wow, unbelievable. And this was a practice that I really fell in love with, and I applied to do teacher training with Jason Nima in Thailand, and back then they encouraged me to do like a 200-hour, 300-hour just normal yoga teacher training before you did the acro yoga one, just as a good base. And I was like, fuck it, nothing's really calling me. This is calling me, And I was still practicing and doing acro yoga anyway. You don't need a certificate to do these things. So I kind of just said, okay, it's not meant to be now. Just carry on with life. And there was like a day where one of the streets in Cape Town was made pedestrian, and a whole lot of different arts and people sharing, and there was acro yoga, and I just lay on my back with my feet up in the air, and I was just flying humans, and it's a really beautiful thing to do. And this one girl called Chelsea, she jumped on my feet, and we flew, and she loved it. And afterwards we became friends, and she said to me, "You've got to try Jiva Mukti yoga." And I was like, "Jiva what? Jiva Mukti? What?" So anyway, that was like it was placed in my awareness, but I didn't I didn't do everything that someone asked. I need but it was a seed. And then literally a couple of days later, I was doing acro yoga in another location in Cape Town, just with some people, and I saw these two girls walking, dancing on a slack line, and they were beautiful girls, and I was mesmerized. And I just got a little bit closer, then eventually close enough that this one girl, she's now a beautiful friend of mine, Kiki. I think she's from Slovenia, Slovakia, please forgive me. And she said, come and try. And I was like, no ways, I can't do that. And anyway, I got up on the slack line with her help, and I was just wobbling. I was like, this is impossible. She was like dancing, and I was like, but it's almost like you're cheating because the rope is static with you, but for me it's like. So I was like, no ways. But I was determined to experience new things and to be able to unlearn, to be able to just find new ways, and also Kiki was so beautiful and just amazing to be around. So the next morning we met. I spent the whole day with her, but I spent the whole day falling up, standing up, and eventually I walked to the other side, and what started off as being like your nervous system saying no, get off, eject, danger. Suddenly there was ease and grace, and you're like, well, what else am I stopping myself from doing? And obviously the slack line is the ultimate when you are really present and really just in the moment. That slack line is perfectly still, but when you start looking around, and when you start letting your mind drift, and the feedback is immediate, boom, and you'll hit the ground hard.
Like climbing.
Totally.
Totally got to be present, 100%.
Totally.
Good for mental health.
It's amazing. So it's like a little trick. So And Kiki said to me, you have to try Jivamukti yoga. So I was like, what? And this was like in the space of 3 days. What? So then in the end, me, Kiki, Chelsea, all three of us went to the same class.
Nice.
And it was a guy called Jay, a man yoga teacher, Jivamukti yoga teacher. And we chanted, which at that point, I mean, I'd been in Thailand, so everything had started to become just part of life, just enjoy everything and not like think too much about it. But we chanted Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasangate, Bodhi, Swaha, which is also like...
Got your name in it.
You got my name in it. And it's all about letting go. All about letting go. Unbelievable. And when you let go, the wisdom remains. Real, true wisdom remains. Like you're true. It's amazing. And I just like let rip in this class. I just loved it. I loved it. There was just everything. I walked out of there like floating. I was just like, what just happened? I've never been in a yoga class where something epic just happened. I was speechless. I walked down, it was in Woodstock in Cape Town. I walked down the street just like, kind of like floating. I don't know. And then me being me, I just put in the Google machine, Jivamukti yoga, and then I was like, fuck it, let's be a teacher.
Just like that,
I swear.
class.
Yeah, and basically, yeah.
Wow.
So I'd only done one Jivamukti yoga class. I just went, and of course, big part of it was like the commitment to not harming, the commitment to veganism. It was just wonderful. It was really wonderful, and it was a no-brainer. And I applied for a scholarship. Within a few days I got the scholarship, and then like a few months later I'm in Costa Rica, and I've barely done like 10 yoga classes in my life.
Jesus. I
was totally, I mean, I still think it's probably not now, but I possibly have taught more classes than I've taken.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, it's great. but and then since then, it's just, I've learned so much. The teacher training is wonderful. I've met David, met Sharon briefly, and spent more time with David, the founders. And then I did my 800-hour teacher training with the most wonderful human being and teacher, spending 6 months in Jersey City and New York with this person, learning, studying, practicing every day. I mean, my body is transforming. It's a celebration. It's been a gift, and so lucky that part of an international community. You know, I've now taught all over the world. You know, you walk in, and Jivamukti is taught through English, so I've been super lucky to be able to just walk in and talk and teach. There's
we're such a well-respected Jivamukti teacher is a well-respected yoga teacher because the training is like so intensive and
it's definitely
such a high standard, and
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to a Jiva class that the teacher wasn't good, you know.
Yeah, that's
Or that
really
I didn't resonate with them to
Yeah.
the degree. There's a lot of yoga teachers and just like there's no connection there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I love it. I want to do it one day. It's on my list for 2020.
come on.
I've wanted to do it for years. As soon as I did Jivamukti, it's like, what the fuck is this, man? I'd got into yoga in India, and it was like, then you kind of get overwhelmed with the amount of different styles and stuff, and I was like, well, which one? Do I have to find one? Do I just try lots of different ones? And then I did Jivamukti, I was like, what was that? What did we just do?
Yeah.
The good teacher was like, yeah, that's Jivamukti. I was like, wow, that was insane. And then I kept practicing Jivamukti, and I didn't go away and Google like you did. I don't really do that very often. I just do stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. Like I'm not like a massive researcher, and then I was doing a class, and I was living with my friend at the time. He used to be in the Marine, so it was like I was into yoga and I was kind of on my spiritual path, and he was a Marine into like football, girls, like going out drinking. So it was like our mates just thought it was the weirdest match for us to be living together, and played golf. And I remember I was coming back one night from this Jivamukti class, and I went to get some eggs from the shop, and I had this problem with buying eggs. I was like, where's this come from? Like, where's this problem? Like, what? And I'm like, I was already a vegetarian. I was like, nah, I'm not being a vegan, man. I like cheese, I like eggs, I've always had them, it's fine. So, but I didn't end up buying them. And then I went home that night, slept, and I was like, no, there was just like some questioning in my mind about why has that happened. Got up the next day, not being a fucking vegan, went to the shop, bought eggs, made an omelette, like bit it, nearly vomited, gave the omelette to my mate, he devoured it, and then I was looking after I was working as a carer for these two autistic boys, and I went round that day, my shift was that day, and one of the lads, his friend come round, and the lad who I was caring for, he brought him in, he was like, oh, this is Liam, he cooks vegetarian food, you should get some ideas. He went, my friend's a vegan, and the guy was like, yeah, can you show me how to like cook some meals? I was like, oh, I'm only vegetarian, right? And he was like, I was like, you're a vegan? He was like, yeah, and he was only 15, 16, this kid. And he was like, yeah, he said, I was like, why did you become a vegan? He was like, is it Gary Wadowski, kind of like...
vegan speaker,
the vegan speech. Yeah. And he was like, it's because of this guy, I'll bring you the CD in tomorrow. Brings me the CD in the next day, I watch it and I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking vegan, aren't I? I was just like, 1, 2, 3, boom. Yeah. And then you realise the threes. But then, it was then after that I did research Jiva Mukti that I realised they're vegans, and that should in some way energetically be coming across to the people who are doing the practice. If, the energetics of the people behind it, when you understand energy. So that was just like, it still blows my mind that, them little things like in freeze that just knock you to make a change, it's like, you just can't ignore it in the end, can you?
No, totally. It sounds very, we have a lot of strong connections. I feel like similar paths, different bodies, but...
Yeah, totally. Bodies from another mother, another continent.
Yeah, for sure. That's, yeah, super cool. That's super nice to hear about you. Do you remember the teacher's name?
Yeah, Andrea Everingham. I'm trying to get her on the show actually. She's like epic asana teacher, cool Jiva Mukti teacher. She's pretty famous in Manchester. She's getting more famous globally.
Well, now she's been mentioned on your podcast.
She's been mentioned on this podcast.
She's world famous.
Oh, exactly, man. Like, globally famous. She's going to have people ringing her every second. She'll probably become Russell Brand's personal yoga teacher as well.
You're going to become Russell Brand's personal yoga teacher, Bru.
Maybe.
Yeah,
or he could become mine.
Yeah, either or.
Yeah, we could exchange.
He'd be a good lad to talk to. Yeah, speaks truth.
Yeah, he does, man. He's beautiful, but his transition is just like, it mesmerises me, because I couldn't stand him before, whereas a lot of my friends loved him before and don't like him now, whereas I'm the other way. Just seeing that transformation in a person is beautiful, and that's what this podcast is all about, and that's what your story is all about, and they're the stories that I'm trying to get that can empower other people to kind of just step it up and let go of their old self like you've done. So more about so you went and did your Jiva training, you went to Costa Rica, and then you've been teaching all over the world.
Yeah.
And how's the healing been going during that?
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes have to pinch myself that I'm a yoga teacher. I have all these people sitting in front of me and I'm teaching yoga, I'm like, geez. But I often tell people, listen, I'm super new to the situation. Yeah. I did really early on in my yoga life,
you don't see me, by the way. You don't seem super new to it. Like when I was in Japan, I've been teaching it for years.
Bro, I saw you. I felt you and Lindsay. Lindsay was next to you. Yeah. You guys just had such a cool vibe, man. I loved it, man. And you're so right about that. There were no words exchanged, but we could feel something, and super nice. Yeah. Well, thanks for that. But it feels like yoga teaching, Bodhi, all of these things are just. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be sharing it, and I think the big thing is I love this expression. This beautiful teacher in Thailand from Brazil, Sophia. She said to me, "You're called to teach where your medicine lies," and I'm sipping on medicine and sharing at the same time. I resonate really strongly with people who share it all. Like what's real, what's dark, what's light, and that's why since being in Barcelona, I do outdoor yoga on the beach, sunrise yoga, which we did together.
It's amazing.
But it's it's mind-blowing when you really sit and witness transformation in nature. You get to realize that it's all part of it, like the dark, the light, the imperfectness, and we connect with that within ourselves, and we don't have to try and pretend to be anything or lengthen our light or lengthen. No, just allow it to be. It's all part of it. So yeah, I think it's been challenging, especially in Barcelona. I had an amazing sort of setup in Luxembourg where I sort of didn't have to teach that much and had a good sort of living situation and monetary situation. Here it's been a challenge to, for me, I see a lot of really, really burnt out yoga teachers who are, you got to keep teaching. The only way you don't take 2 weeks off and get paid leave or get health care or whatever. You just got to keep teaching. And when you teach 3-4 classes a day, you can neglect your health, your balance, practice your food, all of the things that are so important to you. So
which we're trying to teach people to take care of. Yeah.
We as passionate people within this realm have seen how valuable it has been, and it's nothing to do with this is about human wellness. This is about that feeling, like what Sini Temba said about seeing me as his best friend or the dude on the bike. That's what yoga brings us to. It allows us to strip bare all the bullshit that we have unconsciously, consciously, inadvertently, however it's come, they're filters. And yoga helps us to physically unwrap them and be able to just feel connected and part of all things, and when you feel connected to all things, black, white, gay, straight, like living beings, like a dog or a cow, it's like you really don't want to do any harm to them, and things become super simple in this state. Like really, it's just like that's super simple, So we have to look after ourselves as yoga teachers. So I've been trying to figure this out a little bit. I'm on the. It feels like a bit of a yoga hamster wheel, and it's no different to the life I kind of came from. And in fact, funnily enough, and maybe you have some experience in this, that the book also brought me back into that, where I had come out, I ended up writing about this transformation, this huge shift, and then I threw everything into the book, and my whole life was about selling books, and partly from good intention. Like I wanted to support people. I want more people to be able to experience and listen to their bodies and come alive. But I went back into this need to perform, to sell, to my worthiness was determined or linked to how many books I sold. And I ground myself into the ground again. And
it's hard because now you get told you need to be pushing this on Instagram, you need to be pushing this on Facebook, you need to be doing your email list. But especially self-publishing, it's kind of it feels like it's imperative. But what I get the most joy out of is meeting somebody, having a chat, and telling them that I've got a book, and then buying it. You know what I mean? Like for me, I have so much. There's so much tension and anxiety when I'm on Instagram or something. I don't enjoy it. But when I'm in a cafe and I just go to 2 old women and I'm just like, "How are you doing? You okay?" And just have a chat, and they're like, "Oh yeah, what are you doing here? What do you do?" And I'm like, I might say I'm a yoga teacher or a writer, but I
hope you don't use that voice.
I'll be dropping the book in there. They use that voice.
I can't believe your book is like 300,000 words long. And I read
180,000. It was 300,000. It got cut a lot.
108. And I read some of the reviews, Brew, like people saying they couldn't put it down. Fair play, man. Like in this day and age, really, to keep people's attention for that long, that's captivating, man.
Well, a lot of people were coming at me saying it needs to be 70,000 words, and it was 300,000, and I was like, I don't think it can be 70,000. And I'm like, Shantaram's 380,000, and then but then somebody sent me a thing and said like, it reminded them in some way of Shantaram, and I was just like, fuck, like that was probably the best comment I've had so far, because like I love that book, you know.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's the first book I ever read, actually.
Yeah. Better than my first book. Mine was Harry Potter. I didn't read a book till I was 21, man. Never read a book till I was 21.
I've written one.
Yeah,
I can't wait to read your book. I'm
too.
super excited.
That's the thing. Like, another similarity is I'm completely honest and transparent in the book. You know, I shit on myself. A lot of people say, "Why have you wrote that about yourself?" I'm like, "I've not. It's true. You know, it was my behaviour, man. I'm trying to show people like that this bad behaviour that was me was also me in the past, and I've processed it, and I'm still these elements of it I'm still working on, but it's also to just allow other people to go, well, I can make change from this space. It doesn't matter what I've done in the past, there's still space for me to make positive change, and through my honesty, I feel like I'm allowing people to, it's empowering them to be honest about what they've, you know, not to be shy about what they're going through, especially with depression and mental health. And yours is the same thing with the problems that you've had, and you've been completely, I guess, truthful in your book. You know, just even to just mention it in the book, man, is like something that not a lot of blokes would be talking about. So is that crossover again, you know?
Drew, I promised myself that anything can happen in this journey, but for so long, I don't give a fuck about anything other than no one has to know about my penis being soft.
Yeah.
Simple. That's the non-negotiable. And realizing how therapeutic it was to let go. I'll never forget the book launch when I did it in Langa. It was amazing, so flipping beautiful. And standing there and telling people that I struggled with erectile dysfunction for 5 years was just like, I could exhale. I'd been holding my breath for 5 years. You know, so freaking beautiful. But yeah, being truthful is like it's like listening to your body. Listening to what your body is saying or what is happening and sharing it. It's like building trust. It's like building a relationship. And the moment you take a tablet, it's like, take a tablet, get hard, motherfucker. Yeah. It's basically like saying what you are saying is not worthy. Like he wouldn't. He's got a name now too. I named my penis in Thailand. I mean, come on.
Did you have a ceremony and everyone come and hugged him?
It was with a girl, pretty much.
Get off it!
Yeah. I mean, the one beautiful part in the book, where I was, for the first time, I let my guard down completely with another woman, and didn't explain to her, didn't share anything, just allow myself to just be. It was amazing. We ended up in the sea, long after dark, and the moon was out, the reflection. And it was as if this girl was an angel. She like, we made love, but without any penetration, without any genitals. Yeah. And in that moment I realized how narrow my view and my experience of sexuality, of sexual interplay, of intimacy. It was almost non-existent. It was like the penis became like the sole focus, and this need to perform, be hard, ejaculate. I mean, and realizing how much I used to ejaculate, and no surprise, like the energy, like I never knew that, like how much energy we hold, and by just releasing it all the time, you're just releasing all that energy.
Yeah, that's why blokes are just like, they won't sleep.
They're fucked, yeah.
You're just releasing so much. That's, you know, I mean, I had a guy on the podcast called Greg Garrett who's big in the Tantra world, and I'm in a couple of groups with him, and that's, you know, it's kind of about holding that back, but then it's also about, not the penetrative sex, about the things that go on before that, the touching, the becoming in each other's energetic space, like, you know, just feeling each other, but not by touch, always, just how am I connecting my heart to yours, and and understanding, as men, understanding women, and understanding ourselves a bit better, you know, why we behave like this. As young men, how women's emotions, you know, dictated to by a lot of other things than ours, because ours are kind of, they go up and down, but women's can be kind of a bit more erratic. That's not a good word to use either, so I'd probably upset. I'm going to cut this bit, I think. But no, just that kind of understanding that women are different than us, and instead of us thinking that they're mad, that we're here to facilitate them to go through that and give them the space to have their moments, have their different times within the month where their behaviour will change, and to be able to make that as easy and as comfortable as possible for them, rather than us taking it personally and thinking that, you know, they've got something against us, and, you know, there's this battle between the sexes all the time, isn't there, in relationships? And actually we're there to facilitate and to care for them in those moments.
I mean, I think my understanding of these elements has changed so much, and realizing that the physical sex that we carry is just one part of it, and realizing that each one of us on different days and different moments are made up of different elements of masculine and feminine, and starting to really first for me it was to accept this femininity and allow it to grow, allow it to spread. I mean, I love dressing up as a woman. It's like, it's amazing. You start to witness like this whole different side of you, and you know, my whole perspective has fundamentally changed, and it enables you to just allow people space to be. And I mean, learning about the moon cycle, blood, you know, like there's so much negativity from men to women about the blood, and that it should be something, you know, that we hide, but it's something that we should celebrate, it's something that we should learn about, it's something that we can all embrace. So yeah, Tantra has been a huge part of, I ended up, this girl that I was telling you about that I went into the sea with, and I remember she was using seaweed, just pressing seaweed against his sand. It's like my body was just coming alive, and I realized how, you know, there's a lot of women that are attracted to other women, and this is a whole other topic. But one of the magical elements that I can imagine about two women being together is that there's nowhere to go. There's no end point. There's just like a journey of presence, of connecting, and that includes like just being doing nothing, just sitting, so often the penis stops us from exploring the full dimensions of our sexual being. Our whole body is a sexual being, and being able to feel that safety, and for me to feel a woman that wasn't just going straight for my penis, and me vice versa. Suddenly you feel so much bigger, so much you feel, and suddenly, because your penis is not the sole focus, your penis feels so much bigger and more beautiful and more bold and more, because it's like, there's no pressure. It's not like, you don't need, it doesn't, whether it's hard or soft, it makes no difference. But for so long I was like, without a hard penis, what am I? I'm useless. It's no ways the case. In fact, having a soft penis, it created a new realm. It opened a whole new realm. I don't think I'd ever really touched a woman non-sexually without like it being like a precursor towards, and now like the amount of healing soft touch between men and women, men and men, like it's amazing. It's amazing.
See, to around the emergence of the masculine and the feminine, and the crossover for men to go into the feminine and women to step into the masculinity a little bit more, but just trying to find that balance and being able to kind of flow through both. And that's the beautiful thing about, you know, like when we met, you know, I would tell my friends and they're like, oh, that's gay. Do you know what I mean? Or, you know, and it's like, no, we met and appreciated it, and enjoyed your energy and enjoyed your vibe, and it was just like resonated off it, and like, you know, and they call it like a bromance, and I was just like, I feel that energy with Bodhi, and it's beautiful that we could, you know, discuss it rather than just be like, oh, this is weird, like why am I, no, and not, there's no comment. And when I was travelling, there was these little romances that I had with guys, and it was lovely, and it was like, that was the first time that it ever opened up to me, because I'm from a super masculine football world, and fortunately I was into acting as well, so it was kind of like there's more openness into sexuality in that world where it's just like it's not even discussed in football, you know. It's just it's insane. But yeah, it's like it's just a beautiful thing that those relationships don't get missed now, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, I mean, suddenly it's like your sexuality is fully open and it's changeable, and it's like I feel so liberated by being able to embrace any form of human, like any form of I mean, up until now, heterosexual was kind of like, that was the standard norm, and now it's just like, what's happening? Allow what is happening to be expressed, and it's beautiful, it's perfect, it's oh my god, it's changed a lot though.
Yeah, well, what do you mean it's changed a lot?
Well, I mean, I my view was totally limited. Limited. I'm really grateful to have this space. I've felt what it feels like to just have someone's presence and just allow someone who allows you to feel at ease with whatever you are feeling.
That's what I mean. Surround yourself with people with your tribe, people who you vibrate with, at a good frequency, you feel good to be around. That's what I'm always telling people who are in like relationships or hanging out with people. It's just like, well, it's your responsibility. You're choosing it. You can't be blaming other people. But even me and Xander, when me and Xander did a podcast, and we were just saying, like we were talking about sexuality, and it was like, I've not had a sexual experience with a man yet. I would say that I'm just into women. That's all that's ever come up, but I don't know. But it's never happened, and I would say I'm a heterosexual male. But that was what cool. I was on a building site once, and I went into these lads, and I was like, "You're all heterosexual males, And they were like, "We're not fucking heterosexual males. What are you calling us heterosexual? We're not heterosexuals." He's like, "What is it? Extraterrestrials?" I was like, "No, heterosexual males." He's like, "We're not bloody heterosexual males." I went, "So you don't like women?" He went, "Yeah, we like women. We like women." Well, heterosexual. Do you like women? You were like, "Oh yeah, we're heterosexuals. We're heterosexuals." I was just like, brilliant.
That's amazing.
Just hear that word, it kind of, in some people who are not aware of it, just sounds like something fruity, doesn't it? But it can be, can't it? Because it can be as fruity as anything else. Where are you with the healing? You had 5 years of this, erectile dysfunction, is that how you say it?
Erectile dysfunction, I think that's the lingo.
So you had 5 years of erectile dysfunction. Where are you at with that healing journey now? Like, how's it going? Or is it just like...
Do you want demonstration?
Do you want a demonstration on YouTube?
Do you want to touch it? He's called Tommy.
Was that the renaming?
Yeah. Prem, there's a beautiful girl called Prem from Thailand. She's from France originally. I experienced a really amazing sacred spot or lingam massage with her. I mean, there's no ways in hell I would have ever even entertained this idea of letting like a health professional like penetrate me, like fully have access to all of me. And it was just incredible to completely surrender one's power, you are fully vulnerable, and you just have to trust that this person's going to take. And it was just, it's called de-armoring, but when the finger is like stuck in the ass. And she said to me, "Would you like one finger or two?" And I was like, "Is this really happening?"
Ice cream, like a flake.
Oh my god! No, but I mean, jokes aside, it's and she helped me to build my relationship again with my penis and realize how it had just been trying to communicate with me for years, and now I listen to it. I have like a really if there's something not in balance, like I'm gonna know it. So it's
do you think that's your kind of biggest connection to when things that's kind of like your communicator of balance. Really.
Yeah, I mean, there's other things that I experience, like I sometimes get lower back pain, and my back just freezes. But for sure, my penis communicates with me, and it's amazing when there's alignment, when I'm taking care of myself, when I'm resting, when I'm eating well. My penis is vibrant, it's on fire, it's beautiful, But it's an ongoing journey of taking care, of being present, of deep listening. So yeah, I'm finding my way. I've been traveling a lot, so I was able to spend 6 months doing the 800-hour apprenticeship for John Mclnroy in New York, New Jersey. It was amazing. Then I did 3 months in Luxembourg. I was a little bit in Greece. I assisted at my first retreat. And now I'm like, it's my 3rd month in Barcelona, and I wanna find a home, and I wanna. Before the podcast started, we spoke with Xander also about, as an English speaker, and John Mclnroy, I've been very lucky as an English speaker, but I really, in terms of resetting and recreating new pathways, learning a new language is huge. It's amazing. It's like an opportunity to really look at the way you do things, the way that you speak, So I'm excited about grounding my feet here in Barcelona. I feel it was a rocky start. There was a lot of chaos on the streets in the first month that I was here, and I was I even dedicated my class to it this morning. It was about, sometimes we are focused on everything that is not here, or the things that a partner can never be. Like asking an elephant to fly, you're going to struggle, but there's many beautiful attributes about an elephant. And in the beginning in Barcelona, I remember after 1 month, I was hustling so much, trying to get jobs and find a way. I never went to the beach. I never swam in the sea. And this place is beautiful. And now every morning I wake up at sunrise. If people come to practice, I teach. I practice sometimes at the same time as teaching. If they don't come, I dance, I practice this. And then at the end we swim in the sea, the sun is up, and
30 breaths in the cold.
Yeah,
it's cold this time of year, guys, as well. I did it with Bodhi the other day, got in the city. What was it, 8:30 a.m. something like that. Got in the sea, dived in, and then 30 breaths, kind of up to the shoulders, wasn't it? And then start the day from there. It sort of just vibes you out. It's great way to start the day. Yoga practice. So if any of you are in Barcelona, get down to Bodhi's class. How do you describe that location, or how do you find it?
Well, if you go I've got a meetup page, so I'm not on any social media anymore, but I just have a meetup page, which is basically my teaching itinerary. I also teach at Glow Yoga, Jivamukti Yoga, and Hatha Yoga, but whatever. If you're meant to find me, you'll find me, it'll come.
Yeah, another good way to find him is a thing called Class Pass that you can get. If you've never done Class Pass, or I think it's in quite a lot of cities actually, and it just makes it available for you to go to lots of different classes. And I know your classes are on ClassPass, so they can find you on there, they can find you on Meetup. But it's a beautiful way to start your day. It gets you up, and just this time of year as well, seeing that change from the darkness into the light just during the practice is just magnificent.
It's freaking
epic. Stunning place.
Yeah, so I'm going to be around in Barcelona, seeing where the wind blows me around here.
So that's it. You're gonna ground here. Barcelona's gonna be the place to ground
for the next while. I feel like it can be home, and really determined to learn Spanish and even Catalan eventually. I keep teaching. I'm going to be doing various stints in Luxembourg, teaching in Luxembourg, and who knows what else. But just
another book.
The book, flipping out, what a journey. I mean, I spent 6 months on the road promoting and sharing it. We did crowdfunding campaign. It went really well. We sold quite a few books. It's out there now. It's out there now. It's available on Amazon. People can get a hold of me. I'm open to.
What's your website?
My website is www, which is pretty standard.
How do you spell
that? Barefoot, like bare feet. I was when I was promoting the book for about a year. I was barefoot completely. And that was also super interesting social experiment. I was being barefoot through airports, hotels, restaurants. Really interesting, the perceptions. I had long hair also. I've got so many insights about that. But it's barefoot being, so barefoot and then being, ing.earth.
Okay.
As you go. But anyway, whatever, you'll find me somehow. Barefootbeing.earth, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so.
Awesome. And the book is The Butterfly Man. You can get that on Amazon.
Yes.
So yeah, that's amazing. And it's available on, is it
Kindle.
On Kindle?
Yeah.
So you can get it on Kindle. So yeah, go and get it, go and support, go and hear a bit more about Bodhi's story. John Mclnroy is the name on the front of the book. Bodhi is the man in front of me. Anything you want to promote or big up or anyone you want to mention?
Yeah, there's this book called Dealer to Healer. I would fucking read it, man.
You've got to read it, bro.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, it's amazing how there's similar things going on.
Yeah,
so,
that's, throughout the interview, it's just like resonating with a lot of stuff and like it's similar. So thank you so much, man. Really, really appreciate you and people just believe in the magnificence of like just letting life unfold and the people that will come up, because like I met Bodhi 3 days ago and here I am doing a podcast with him and like gonna hang out a little bit more. We went for a coffee yesterday. Want to talk more about books and your tour and everything. There's like loads of questions that I've got for you. But yeah, that is the Bodhi podcast. So thank you very much for everybody that's listened, and thank you very much, Bodhi. It was an absolute pleasure. You speak so beautifully.
You too, brother. Love you, man.
Alright, take it easy, man. Have a beautiful day.
Cheers, brother.
Peace. Awesome, man.
Woo!
Yeah.
Your podcasts are intense, eh?
Yeah.
They're full on.
Hey?